What a beautiful night it is. You do realize that the night shines the most during the night. It's just so relaxing to sit back and watch the stars on a beautiful night. Wait a second, what month is this? Oh heck yeah! Hello everybody, my name is Mohammed, and happy Christmas, aka happy Jesus' birthday, aka happy my birthday. If you need a reason why you should celebrate my birthday instead of Christmas or Jesus, I own jam. Now some of you may be asking, Mahid, how old are you turning? Get back to me on that one. So let's celebrate by looking back on this year with this scrapbook. I got it from a friend who mailed it to me earlier. The only downside now is that I have this huge box in the middle of my room that's just standing there. I don't know, I'll probably use it for something one day. Is it just me, or do I look off in January? Well, at least it's not as bad as how I look in 2018. Oh, that's when I went dumpster diving? Oh, that's when I died and became a ghost? My 3 Wiis! When I destroyed the internet? When I became CG? When I overpaid for ball in 2 other games? That's the time when I talked about Cam Coral. Oh, and that's the time when I talked about Cam Coral. Oh, and that's the time I also talked about Cam Coral. Oh man, these take me back. And I can't wait to make new memories next year. But I guess I should talk about something to cap off this year. Let's see. I don't know. I have jam. What else is there to talk about? What was that noise? Huh, it seems to be coming over there near my game collection. Huh. Skylanders Spyro's Adventure? That's weird. Why do I hear it from my bed? Should probably get a closer look. Well, who better to talk about Skylanders than me, seeing how I have a interesting history with Skylanders. But first, I think we should talk about how this came to be. For those who don't know, Skylanders is a Toys to Life video game series published by Activision. This kickstarted the Toys to Life series of video games where you need little toys with NFC chips inside of them in order to play as that toy in-game. Some may call the Toys to Life series lazy, money-hungry, bad. It's hard to deny what I just said 1 sentence ago. When these types of games were popular, they were really popular, since they appealed to kids who like plastic junk, and collectors who just gotta catch them all, which made them really profitable and such. They took over the 2010s for a brief period of time. But don't worry guys, it's not like I was affected by them. Dang it. Ending up due to oversaturation and how people got sick of being ripped off, most games in the Toys to Life series kind of stopped being made, mostly because when the money stops coming in, you better get out of there, since making toys are expensive and causes landfills to be made. With the only thing that really survived was Nintendo's Amiibo. Since they worked with all the Nintendo games, it was more of a bonus to the game and not something required. Most of the time. But this isn't about Nintendo, or Lego, or Disney, or any of the other losers that wanted some of that Toys to Life pie. No, we're talking about the series that spearheaded this genre to fame, and also later spearheaded this genre to the ground, Skylanders. Specifically, Skylanders Spyro's Adventures, the first game in the series. Yes, today I'm going to talk about that game, but before I do, let's talk about a brief history of Skylanders in the first place. Skylanders Spyro's Adventure was originally being made as a revival to Spyro the Dragon, who was too busy being dead, rebooted, being dead again. The original tone was going to be much more gritty and darker, but then the company who made it, Toys for Bob, decided, oh wait, they actually want to sell this game, and decided to make it more lighthearted. And somehow the game that originally was about Spyro mutated to a new game that just so happened to have Spyro in it. The idea to have toys in the game was always going to be included from the beginning, since, quote, it was the kind of concept that was so outlandish that it was the most promising idea, end quote. So basically it was used as a gimmick. And that gimmick worked because it came out in October 2011, and apparently Activision sold 500 million copies, with 30 million of those copies being from toys alone. So Activision kept chugging this train going for 5 more games, 8 spin-offs, 5 books, 1 TV show, and a possible movie coming soon. And in total, $3 billion made, with $175 million being from the toys alone. So yeah, Skylanders was pretty profitable. Apparently, Activision is currently, quote, taking a break with the Skylanders franchise, which explains its lack of games as of recent. But this translates to, we milked the cow for all it's got. Toys to Life is dead. We're done with Skylanders. So now that's all that I've said, but now let's get into the plot of the first game, Skylanders Spyro's Adventure. So the plot is relatively pretty simple. You play as... Actually wait, the game tells us. That's me! The person who's saying that, by the way, is an old man named Eon, a portal master who commands the Skylanders to protect Skylands. But one day Chaos, voiced by Invader Zim guy Richard Horvitz, comes with a vengeance, and with the help of the darkness, they destroy the core of light that has protected the Skylands from the darkness. But after destroying the core of light, it sends all the Skylanders to Earth, and as they're being sent, they shrunk and froze, which explains why they are toys and why the game needs them. Which I think is a really cool way to explain why we need to buy the characters, and use the portal instead of just picking them in-game. Not many Toys to Life games really explained why we can't just play as them in-game and why we need toys, so this is really cool. Oh, and also Eon died and became a spirit. So he's basically a god now. Huh. And since Eon commanded the Skylanders since he was the Portal Master, but he's now dead, and now we have the Skylanders, we are the new Portal Master. And it's our job to go to the far reaches of Skylands to collect the Eternal Sources, and after bringing them to where the Core of Light used to be, it knows how to get the ancient machinery back to reform the Core of Light. And when we're not bringing back sources, we're bringing back certain parts like a gear, so the actual source can work with it. The game ends with us putting the Core of Light back together and destroying the darkness, and banishing Chaos to Earth, like how he banished the Skylanders to Earth. And that was Skylanders Spyro's Adventures. But before I put my 2 cents in, we should talk about the game. Besides the Toys to Life gimmick, this game is an average 3D beat-em-up game. You kill any enemies in your way to make it to the end. There are all little parts where you're denied access to the next section until you kill all the enemies, which seems to just be here just to make the levels feel longer, since this is a pretty short game. Every level ends with a boss fight, and sometimes the game adds a bit of puzzles and backtracking, like go here to get a key, then come back to open the door, or push these turtles to get past a little pit. Very minor stuff like that. And since this is a Wii game, we have forced motion controls. But it actually isn't too bad. The most you do is waggle the Wii remote to open a box, or to turn a key to open a gate. One thing that is cool about the Toys to Life gimmick, in my opinion, is that if you have a lot of Skylanders, it's basically impossible to get a game over, since once that Skylander dies, it's on to the next one. Another cool thing about the Skylanders is that you can save stuff like their power-ups on little cosmetics that you can get by buying those in the shop, but not with real-world money, thank God. And you can still use your Skylanders across all the games. So basically, at the start of a new game, you can already have an OP Skylander. Obviously, you can't use newer Skylanders with older games, but the fact that you can use previous Skylanders in newer games is so cool and softens the fact that the game is literally pay to play, since without Skylanders you can't make it past the menu. And if you buy pre-owned figures, then it's cool seeing what the last owner named their Skylander, what upgrades did they get him, what levels they are. It's kind of like buying a pre-owned game and going through the last owner's save file. Okay, enough talking about the gameplay, now let's get on to one thing that makes this game stand out from other games is its voice acting. Unlike other games that uses text and have a character just speak pure gibberish while they're doing it, I'm looking at you, Banjo-Kazooie. Oh. Whoa. This game actually uses voices and actual voice actors. I already mentioned how Chaos is voiced by Richard Horvitz, but you also got Patrick Warburton as Flynn, the game's comic relief / idiot, Justin Long as Spyro, and many more. And also, this game feels more like an interactive TV show at some parts. The cutscenes are actually fun to watch. It includes good slapstick, writing, and voice performance. It's a no-brainer it got a Netflix show. The characters are pretty fleshed out of all things considered, and while I won't say that Skylanders is comedy gold or anything like that, that's just ridiculous, I will say that some parts are pretty funny. Not all the parts, but some. So that was fun picking apart the first game, but what about the others? The gimmick is that the Skylanders are big. Apparently they were locked away and then they were free just now. Oh, and you also need to repair Flynn's ship. It's mostly the same as the first game. Next! The gimmick is that you can actually swap the body parts around the toys and it actually works? That's actually pretty impressive that you're able to take the bottom of one Skylander and put it on the top of another, and the game registers it. Also, before you ask, no, you can't play as two bottoms. I checked. Oh, and also, this is one of the few games not to be made by Toys for Bob, but by Vicarious Visions. They made Doom 3 for the original Xbox, and the Powerpuff Girls, him vs. Seek for the Game Boy Advance. They were the best men for the job. The actual reason why this is like this is so that way each game can have 2 development cycles, since it's supposed to come out each year. So while Toys for Bob is working on the next game, here's Swap Force. It's also mostly the same as the other two. The gimmick is that you can trap bosses and then play as them. It's actually pretty cool. The plot with this one is that the trap team were gone but then came back after the bad guys were free. This is commonly considered the best of the Skylander games in its peak, and yeah, I kind of agree. Also has a similar plot to Giant, where the big boys were kind of gone but then came back, but okay. The gimmick is cars. There's nothing much to talk about other than the fact that this is also one of the games to be made by Vicarious Visions and not Toys for Bob. And another thing to know is that there was a spin-off for the Wii that was also released that only had the racing segment, and 9-year-old me did not like that. I can't see why that was only the racing segment, because for some reason Activision cannot let go of the Wii by this point, but the Wii cannot handle these games. Just look at Trap Team. So spin-off time. Oh, this game is also kind of the same. The gimmick is you can make your own Skylanders, with a specific toy obviously, but you can only make one Skylander per toy. That's kind of raw. This is not only the final mainline game, but it is also a send-off, seeing how they're basically giving us the ability to make Skylanders, and now Spyro is a part of the plot again. But why are these games so similar? What are these spin-offs anyway? Skylanders Universe? Skylanders Cloud Patrol? Skylanders Battlecast? No, I can't believe Activision would do this. They oversaturated a good series and now it's dead because of it. I can't let this happen. I need to give Activision a piece of my mind. So, let's just search up a price for a plane ticket and then we'll be on our way. Oh my god, that's a lot! What am I gonna do now? Is this a stupid idea? Yeah. Will I regret this? Yeah. But I don't care, I'm mailing myself to Activision headquarters anyway, because it's my only way to tell Activision that this needs to stop. Also, don't ask why the box is smaller. Shut up.
Hey, what do you reckon this is?
It's a box!
I know it. Seems to go to Activision.
Those are the guys that made Skylanders Battlecast.
Oh, it's fragile.
We know how to handle fragile stuff.
Wait, where's that music coming from?
I play.
Oh no.
Guys, I just came back from the boss. He's pissed.
Where's your Christmas spirit? So, this is the place. Come out and get ready to fight! That's right. Come over here so we can fight already.
Fight? No, this is a professional building center. We don't need to fight.
But you milked Skylanders and turned into a cash cow. And you made Skylanders Battlecast. I need to show you the error of your ways.
But I'm the CEO of a company. It's our duty to make a potentially good series for all it's worth. And yeah, we probably should have thought more before releasing Skylanders Battle Class. I'm sorry about that.
Wait, so you're actually telling me it's okay to milk a series until it begs for mercy?
I mean, yeah. What do you expect me and the other companies to do? Make a fresh new original series and put effort into it? Nah, let's just keep holding on to this dead horse of a series until it stops making dough. Why else is everything getting remade? I bet you a nickel that when I die, they're gonna make a live-action adaptation of me.
Huh.
Now you better get going on before your box breaks.
Well, okay then. Goodbye, Mr. CEO of Activision.
Goodbye, random stranger who broke into my headquarters to engage in violence. Dear Matt, sorry you have to go through all that trouble of mailing yourself to me. I hope this gift makes up for that and for me releasing Skylanders Battle Class. Merry Christmas, the CEO of Activision.
Well, it looks like my birthday is over, but at least I'm back home and with a new shelf. Goodbye, windowsill life. Hello, shelf life. In the end, I'm glad that I came. I may have not gotten my big epic boss fight scene that I wanted, but I didn't need that. It's Christmas time, a time to relax and be grateful for what we have. And I did end up learning something which is neat. Well, what did we learn this year? Well, first of all, don't travel in a box!